Hey, what is up guys? My name is Tiger Nemesis and today I'm going to show you some powerful strategies for Scorch in Titanfall 2 and some bonus tips you might not have known about. Hopefully the tips I show you in this video will help you try out Scorch if you haven't already. For those of us who use Scorch as a main Titan like me, I hope that the tips I show you in this video will help you become a better player as well. I'm going to first start off doing an overview on the Titan kits and why each one specifically is either useless or useful to Scorch. The first one is the Assault Chip. Now, the only match I would recommend that you use this for is either at Hardpoint or Bounty Hunt, and the reason I say this is because there's a huge chance you're obviously going to need to exit your Scorch to hold a Hardpoint or to deposit your earnings into the bank. This would help your Scorch not get destroyed by an enemy Titan, and it also gives it a higher chance at helping you deter enemy pilots from coming into the building with you as well. And next comes Stealth Auto Eject. Now, unless you just began playing, I highly recommend you avoid using this kit with your Scorch. I would actually recommend using one of the other kits to assist you in becoming more effective offensively and defensively against enemy Titans and pilots. Turbo Engine. In my opinion, this is the best kit that you can use for Scorch. Since he's so slow, it helps you in avoiding oncoming damage by ducking behind cover or walls. More so, it helps you so much in conjunction with your heat shield to get up close and personal to deal the most damage. I'm going to go ahead and touch upon this a little bit more later in the video. And next we have Nuclear Ejection. Although I wouldn't recommend using this kit either, it's best used in smaller spaces and in attrition, since it will more than likely cause collateral damage that you didn't intend to or plan to do to distracted enemy pilots and non-playable characters like the Grunts and the Spectres. The main reason why I wouldn't recommend using this kit is because most enemy Titans can avoid this by going behind cover, or worse yet, they can take advantage of the timing that it takes you to mash the button and detonate your nuclear ejection, causing them to execute you. I did want to add one more important note about nuclear ejection. This doesn't work like Titanfall 1, where you can nuclear eject whenever you wanted to, even if it's right after getting into your Titan. In Titanfall 2, nuclear ejection is only detonated once your Titan is in a doomed state. If you do decide to use nuclear ejection with Scorch, there is a second tip that I wanted to point out that most people don't use. Keep your Titan alive until the enemy evac ship arrives and use nuclear ejection to take it out. You can damage yourself into a doom state by shooting your thermite launcher towards your feet while deploying incendiary traps and firewalls as well to deal most damage. The second you get doomed, eject immediately below the ship. If you have phase shift equipped, use it to avoid killing your pilot with the blast. Otherwise, if you don't have phase shift equipped on your pilot, try to get your Titan as close as possible below the ship without having an obstructed ejection escape. This will make the enemy evac ship so much easier to destroy, since when you use your nuclear ejection, it takes around half of the actual HP bar of the evac ship. And the next Titan kit is Overcore. Although this starts you off with a 30% towards your core and an electric smoke to use, I still recommend using the Turbo Engine kit. The reason I say this is because that kit will help you get your core faster by playing offense and defense at the same time. One bonus tip: if you enter a last Titan standing match that's already in progress, when the next round begins, you will automatically be given a 15% core build time since you entered into an active match. The last Titan kit on the list is Counter Ready. This kit gives you a second electric smoke to use once you reach 30% core build time. If you have a really big issue getting rodeoed all the time, I suggest that you use this. However, if you consider the tips that I give you later in the video about how to deal with pilots, trust me, you won't ever need this thing. And now we get to the Scorch Kits. The first one on here is Wildfire Launcher. This kit adds more thermite to your T203 main gun, but it doesn't add any damage. In my opinion, it doesn't add enough to your offense weaponry to warrant this kit over others. Tempered Plating. This armor reduces the damage from your own fire if you happen to walk into it, but like the previous kit, it doesn't add enough to your defense to warrant this kit over others, and I will touch up upon this later in the video as well. Infernal Shield. This is the best kit that you can use for Scorch. It adds damage to your shield while also expanding the duration. This is such a lifesaver since Scorch is very slow, and we'll get more into details a little bit later in the video as well. Fuel for the fire. This kit makes your firewall last longer, but because it's deployed in a straight line, an enemy Titan or a pilot can literally just sidestep to avoid it. So this kit making it last longer doesn't make you more powerful to use it. And last we have Scorched Earth. This only makes the floor along your flame core when you're using it produce 3 firewalls. which only lasts as long as the core is active, so to me this one is useless. Titanfall kits. Dome shield. Stick with this one. If you get killed on the way to your Titan after it touches down, you can run back after you respawn and still make it inside just before the shield runs out. I did also want to share one bonus tip with the dome shield. After you get into your Titan, you can keep the shield up if you don't move your Titan. However, you can still look around with the right thumbstick or your mouse if you're playing on PC. This should help you temporarily avoid preemptive attacks or impatient pilots wanting to rodeo you. Warp fall. I don't ever see a reason why I would recommend this because you don't have a shield after your Titan lands. Even if the Titanfall is faster, it's open to attacks by pilots and enemy Titans. Now that I've covered the basics, we can get into the main part of making you a more effective Scorch pilot. I would first like to remind everyone of the HP bars that every Titan has. This should help you remember which Titans to attack depending on what their HP bar is. So we see here that Scorch and Legion have 5 bars of HP, Tone and Ion have 4 bars of HP, and finally Ronin and Northstar had 3 bars of HP. So with Scorch, your Infernal Shield is your best friend. My best strategy for Scorch is to always get up close and personal with your enemy Titan, but since Scorch is so slow, this is where the Turbo Engine Titan Kit will come in handy. Once you come face to face with an enemy Titan, throw up your shield and bursts. Don't keep it up non-stop since this will make your shield run out faster and will make you into a huge, slow, open target. Try to stay around building corners just in case you need to duck behind them to avoid damage. While you're throwing up your heat shield and burst, because more than likely your enemy Titan will keep attacking you non-stop since he underestimates your tactics, deploy your incendiary traps behind the enemy Titan. I did want to point out one important note. Your heat shield will protect you from all damage that is directed towards it. If someone starts shooting the parts of the Scorch that aren't protected by the heat shield, which are very few, they will cause damage. However, most pilots don't know this and will keep attacking you through your shield in vain. Use this towards your advantage, especially with Legions and Northstars. Another important note about your Infernal Shield, it takes an average of 8 seconds of direct Infernal Shield damage to get a Legion or another Scorch into a doomed state. This takes 6 seconds for a Tone and an Ion, and 4 seconds for a Northstar and a Ronin. Remember this because I will touch back on this later. Now, getting back on track, depending on the situation and the area that you're in, there are several effective ways of using your heat shield combined with your incendiary traps, which I will show you in the following image. The bright dot in the middle is you, Snake. Oh wait, sorry, wrong game. The red circle is your Scorch, the blue circle is the enemy Titan, and the yellow circles are the incendiary traps, while the red and the yellow line is your firewall. Method number 1 is my favorite technique to use, where you deploy your incendiary traps horizontally behind the enemy Titan and immediately use your firewall to ignite them. You can also deploy your incendiary traps in either direction behind the enemy Titan, left to right or right to left, whichever one you prefer. Right after deploying your second trap, use your firewall in one of 2 ways shown in the image. Step 3A, Firewall, shows straight through the enemy Titan to scare him into moving, and you should now sidestep left or right to avoid self-inflicted damage, then advance towards the enemy Titan. Step B, Firewall, completely avoids the enemy Titan, but ignites the traps behind him. This helps you move straight towards your enemy Titan without worrying about stepping into your own firewall and causing damage. After using your firewall, throw up your Infernal Shield and bursts and walk towards the enemy Titan. This should cause him to go straight into your traps to avoid your Infernal Shield. If you get lucky and close enough to the enemy Titan, use your Infernal Shield non-stop to deal the most damage possible. This should also help you earn your Electric Smoke and use this immediately to stack the damage as well. One important note to add to this as well, try to keep the enemy's health bar within your view to know when you have to melee and execute the Titan or whether you have to dash to safety from a nuclear ejection. Remembering the number of seconds worth of direct Infernal Shield contact that I had stated previously in the video for the Titan you're fighting helps you if you lose track of the enemy's HP bars. Method number 2 is best used for narrow corridors or if you want to split up multiple enemy Titans that are charging at you. The reason I always suggest to throw down your firewall straight and then sidestep to avoid damage is because those few seconds that the enemy Titan is in the fire will help you more than if you would have deployed your firewall in a different manner. As with the previous method, throw up your heat shield and push towards the enemy Titan to make him scared and walk straight into the fire behind him. Method number 3 is best used when you can't predict a fast moving Titan or when you need to back off from multiple Titans. Throw your first trap behind the enemy Titan and immediately follow this by throwing your secondary trap towards him to either land in front of him or, for a little bit more fun, bounce it off his head. And follow this up with your firewall. Respawn weapon timing. The respawn timer takes 15 seconds to reload one incendiary trap, 10 seconds for your firewall, and 5 seconds for your heat shield. Keep this in mind to avoid tense moments of waiting to see when you can use each one of the weapons again. Let's move on. Take advantage of every chance you have to execute enemy Titans, since when you are in the execution animation you are invincible, and it also gives you a different camera angle to know if there's other Titans around you that you didn't know about. When it comes to your thermite launcher, use this very carefully since the reload time is 4 seconds before you can shoot again. If you're shooting long range with this, shoot higher than your target to arch it and achieve a hit. Even if you miss, it will make the enemy Titan move since there is now thermite on fire in that spot. Use this towards your advantage with Titans that likes to stay away from you. My main suggestion for this weapon is to not shoot unless you know you will have a direct hit. If you know that you're going to miss, it wastes time and a shot that you could have possibly used for that enemy pilot that is pestering the hell out of you. The reload time also makes it harder to shoot enemy pilots that are running around your Scorch or are popping in and out of that hidey spot shooting at you. Enemy pilots. They can be a real nuisance if you don't take care of them fast and efficiently. Most enemy pilots I've encountered in my Scorch are too scared to get close since they know that you can throw up your heat shield and fry them instantly. So they tend to hide above rooftops or inside of buildings and caves. Counter this by using your incendiary traps. If the pilot is on the roof, deploy your trap onto the rooftop and shoot higher at a nearby wall or post with your thermite launcher. This will make the fire rain onto the rooftop where they ducked behind cover and will instantly bake within seconds. You can also do this with buildings and rooms, but you have to step back and aim lower at the door to get your trap inside. Otherwise, it will just bounce off the wall and stay outside. I would first suggest that you shoot a thermite into where the pilot is hiding first to give them the illusion that you missed and that they're safe. Then follow this with the incendiary trap. The trap will ignite and roast them and they'll think twice about hiding from you. I can't begin to tell you the number of pilots that think that they're safe on a rooftop hiding from me, and I've gotten the best of them with this method. Let's move on to rodeos. If a pilot happens to rodeo you, there are several effective ways of getting rid of him and making sure that he doesn't run off with your battery or drop a grenade for damage. Most pilots I've encountered don't have the low profile perk equipped, which hides their rodeo status from you until they begin to touch your battery or begin to cook the grenade. If you don't have an electric smoke to shake them off, immediately get out of your Titan and shoot them off, or wait till they take your battery and jump the floor running. They will either be too happy or busy thinking that they got away from you to notice that you're out of your Titan and already shooting at them. If you do have an electric smoke, I can show you a method that has worked for me 99% each time I've used it to kill the enemy pilot. Once again, the red circle with the arrow is your Scorch, the blue line is your electric smoke, and the yellow circle is the enemy pilot. As soon as you hear or see that an enemy pilot is on you, immediately deploy your electric smoke. Move forward so that your visor view is out of the smoke and look all the way up. This will put the enemy pilot literally in the middle of the smoke, and any way he decides to jump or run to, he will die trying to do so. Circle number 1 displays the enemy pilot when you deploy your smoke. Circle number 2 shows his or her position after you have stepped forward. And circle number 3 shows the pilot's position after you have aimed up. Flame core. Lastly, your flame core. If you use all of the methods that I've suggested to you already, you should get this in no time. Once you have it, you have two options, either to use it immediately or keep it for tactical use. This really depends on the situation that you're in, either surrounded by Titans, 1 versus 1, narrow corridors, or retreating from damage. If you're facing multiple Titans, use this immediately to deal damage and start working on earning another one. If this is a 1 versus 1 situation, wait to use it until you have the perfect shot and hitting your target. In other words, take your time not to miss or have the enemy Titan avoided. There are 2 very important things that I want to point out with this. Number 1, whether you're right in front of your enemy Titan or there is some distance between both of you, the flame core will deal the same amount of damage. Don't think that just because you aren't close to him, you won't deal as much damage and then you try to get closer. Number 2, if you have your flame core and you're getting horribly surrounded or destroyed by an enemy titan or multiple enemy titans and you know you're gonna get killed, use your flame core and eject immediately afterwards. Your Scorch will still use the flame core while you're being ejected. This can be such a huge help when you know that you worked hard to earn it and you have to bail but you still want to use it. I've used this specific method various times and have caught the enemy titans off guard because they see me ejecting. I did also want to share one last tidbit of advice that most people don't know about. When you pick up a battery and give it to your titan or another titan, it is worth half a bar of HP. This means that if your titan doesn't have an overshield, it will regenerate your overshield and give the remainder of what's left in the battery as health to your titan. If your titan does have an overshield, it will give you an entire half bar of HP back to your titan. This is another image that I've created to illustrate what I've just stated. As you can see, I have taken 3 screenshots from my Scorch's HP bar and have added colored rectangles to help show you the differences with each battery that is given to your titan. Number 1 on the graph shows my Scorch's HP bar after taking damage. Number 2 shows my HP bar after I had given it 1 battery. The yellow box illustrates how much HP I had regained from the battery after it refilled my overshield first. Number 3 shows my HP bar after I had given my Scorch a second battery. The red box illustrates the amount of HP I had recovered from that second battery. On the bottom image, I created a blue square to represent the amount of the first battery that was used to replenish my overshield, while the yellow box was a remainder given to me as HP. You can see that it only used around 10% of the battery for my overshield regeneration. Well, that's going to be all of the tips and tricks I have in this episode to help you become a more effective pilot when using Scorch. And if you don't use them, I hope that these suggestions will help you give it a chance, and who knows, it might become your favorite titan to use. This is specifically what actually happened to me because I always used Tone but saw that everyone was using him too and not enough people were using Scorch. Having said that, that is going to be it for this video today. I worked pretty hard to make this for everyone, so if you could please share this video with your friends, push that like button, and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it from you guys. I've also included links to my social media sites below and the images that were included in this video for you guys as well. Lastly, please also take a moment to comment below and let me know what you think. Did this guide help you with your Scorch? Did it make you more curious to try them out? Share your tactics as well so we could all become better Scorch pilots. I will leave you with a funny video of a horrible decision that one of my Ronins decided to take after a good kill streak. Thank you once again for taking the time to watch my video, and see you next time, guys.
He's gonna hold a grudge.